A 6. Ah, yes. Politically. Remembrance Day. Singular. Theater. Vacancy. Chapter 1. And thus, things begin as they always do here. 'Tis a new dawn that calls to eye. Take initiative of this opportunity, and make new those things which you care to express upon those you find important, those very dear to your heart. A man in Dublin went to his mate's humble abode, and then went to his mate's humble abode, and said unto him, I have seen in the firelight as requested to do so the genesis of a new man. Now, for clarity's sake, I should point out, it was not the request of the chief for this man to see the genesis of a new man, but to instead reflect upon himself and the actions he had made throughout that year. Still, with this result being way more than asked for, it was greatly appreciated. And nay, not appreciated, but instead welcomed, and for some, in a most extraordinary way, envied. He said to his mate, Dost thou envision the same future within me, and who is Clarity? In a quick, decisive response, he replied, No, for I have not seen in the firelight for an age anything but that which I cannot see within my own fire. Confused, the man shifted his gaze back to his mate's face. He continued, I knew these things of you since the beginning. Hardships were experienced along the way, no doubt, but you found friendship and inspiration that brought you to this point as intended, no? The man softly nodded and spoke dryly. No. Acceptance is a hard thing sometimes, can't we all agree? No, we can't, for the one that must play devil's advocate finds great joy in doing so. There was a time after I had retired that I reflected back as the man did into the fire and saw a grand picture. 'Twas a simple setting, no more than a few acres of wheat farmland, the sun shining too bright to see past the eastern edge of the property. To the west stood a nice church. The air was warm, but not so offensive. I mean, we're too far in society to allow such things to offend us. This is a new chapter, I said. I hear your voice. I thought to myself, I'm still alive, so I could continue on to that point. And upon passing that point, I once again said to myself, I am still alive. Could I not continue to that next point? So I continued on, and once arriving at that final point, I came to the realization, I am still alive. Can I not go further? But I'm getting ahead of myself. You see, there's such a story to tell, grand things to get to, but I must provide you with all the necessary details, such as the point where I thought to myself, I'm still alive, so I could continue on to this next point, and upon passing that point, I once again said to myself, I'm still alive. Could I not continue to that final point? So I continued on, and once arriving at that point, came to the realization, I'm still alive. Can I not go further? But I'm getting ahead of myself. There is such a story to tell, grand things to get to, but I must provide you with all necessary details. Did I get away with that one? Not sure, said the man, who went on to his friend's humble abode in Dublin. Man, I'm running low on them gigs, man. You catch my drift? Do you enjoy a good story? Because I have one for you. It's about a man who once had a grand life, or maybe he did. I don't quite remember. But the point is, things took a turn for the worse, or as that one girl says at 1918 Raintree Lane, Southwest Indianapolis. What are you doing here? You can't be here. I'm calling the police. Get away from my child. Then, right as things were at their best, he met a girl. It's a story of tragedy and also serves as a newlywed's guide to roofing and remodeling. Now that's a deal if I've seen one. You know, I was listening to the radio the other day, and I heard a story about a man who made an attempt to grow compact discs in his backyard garden. And man, the choir was absolutely beautiful. I really hate people who own boats. I'll just be driving down the road having a good old day till I see some stuck-up rich guy with a boat in his yard. It's like, there's no water there? How are you using that boat? They do it just to flex about how rich they are on us common folk. What's worse is those guys that drive around with their boat on a trailer. It's like, excuse me? You bought that fancy boat and you're just gonna put it on a car and drive it around? Just use the boat to get around. Same thing for those people that have such a kind way to express their reasons for developing the new book for people who are experiencing issues such as the way to increase production of proper farmland techniques and the creation of universally independent, two-way, multi-stage budgeting software for the use solely by licensed individuals and corporation that produces items that classify under the Level 2 designation of electronic motors and laser manufacturing facility, constructed in the way that many things used to be when things were getting spicy, and doubt just increased as the population began to run into issues supporting the large number of trees that were fruit-bearing and capable of making it to the other side of the obstacle, such as those who experience shortness of breath and those that have a mass greater than that of the earth when it decides to have a small fizzy beverage for his weekly session of gluing large amounts of wood to the metal siding of any local establishments that have within their position one or more managers being paid equal wage for their efforts in developing a new airfoil capable of bringing humanity to the level of those such as Richard Dean Anderson and the gang of fully autonomous cars for the Commonwealth. Now, I know what you're thinking. Narrator, how can all of this be true? You tell of these grand things, but I have yet to see them. There is no possible way that such things can exist. Yes, I've tried every combination, every permutation, yet nothing comes of it. Why is that? Isn't it your job to help us? At least provide some sort of guidance, even though I realize many people don't have such things. Please, for the love of, This is what you're thinking in your mind, dear listener. Yes, I know you're listening. You are here. I can't quite respond, but trust me, I'm here for you. Now, it is time for me to go forth and bring you the things requested. You know, many times she tried to tell me, and I thought I listened. But no, even now, I refute the very things she came to educate me on. She was called upon to come to me. She said it herself. Why then did you still say it? There's not much to be done now, but man, work is underway. I tried so hard. And every time, the same result. It will be coming, hopefully, within the year's end. Maybe less if I have the time. It will be a grand experience, trust me.